Well, good evening and welcome to the Arbor Hills Nature Preserve in Plano, Texas. Tonight's exercise is a field test of the Armytek Crystal Pro, which I have right here next to the original Armytek Crystal. And you're probably thinking, yeah, they look almost exactly identical, and you would be correct. Easiest way to tell them apart, because they really are the same form factor, same micro USB-C charging, is to look at the clip on the back. This one says Crystal Pro, and this one says Crystal. You'll also find that the Pro has these two red lights here that you do not see on the original. There's also some difference in the circuitry. In terms of output modes and levels, very similar. You have the two beacons, red and white, and then main 1, main 2, main 3. A lot of people would say that's low, medium, high, or the high mode is turbo in some other flashlights lingo. Big difference at that high output level is 220 peak lumens versus 150 for the original Crystal. Other than that, the output levels are very comparable. And yes, we will be doing a comparison in that high or main 3 output level. Another thing that you'll find that's different on the Pro is the accelerometer. This is something that you can turn off and on. It's just a simple triple click. What that does is if this light has been moving around and it's completely inactive for 3 minutes, it will automatically shut the light off. And then if it vibrates or gets moved again, it will come back on in the same mode and output level that it was before. You also have a braking function if you're into bicycling, and what that does is if you're moving along, it detects the deceleration from braking. It will make the light brighter and then activate the extra red lights temporarily. I do not have a bicycle and don't have any way to easily test or demonstrate that. And on the subject of demonstration, you're probably interested in the usual set of field tests, not listening to me. So once the sun goes down, we'll get out in the preserve and see exactly what this Pro can do, especially relative to its predecessor. So I'm going to use that setting sun as a backdrop, just in case you're completely new to the product. I'm going to make a quick run through the UI and functionality. Main switch here, just a quick click to turn on, turn off, always comes back on in whatever output mode and level it was in before. We're starting out here in Firefly. You just press and hold to go up. So that would be main 1, and if you press and hold continuously, it's just a cycle through main 2, main 3, beacon 1, beacon 2, back around to Firefly, and you can see it just goes all the way back around to where we started. Double click to red, press and hold. We go through the entire show again. And sun is almost over the horizon, so I'm going to replace it with main 3 red here, and then we'll see what these look like in a darker environment very shortly. I am at the bridge where I normally do output level test in low or main 1. Very challenging environment tonight. Completely overcast, low clouds, so a lot of the light from the surrounding city reflects off those clouds, and it's even brighter than a full moon. So let's just look around this area. Up 1, and then again. So this is high or main 3. Again in red outputs, starting with low or main 1. Up a level. And then again. This is the original crystal in high or main 3. I'm holding it just above my search and rescue headlamp, which is off. And so this will simulate using the light as a headlamp. Then I'm going to repeat the exercise with the Pro. And now the Pro in high. I hope this shows up on the camera. I can definitely tell the difference, especially looking downrange. The iPhone, of course, only has so much dynamic range, and that's it. So sometimes it just doesn't capture things that are seen with the unaided eye. So I can definitely tell that if you wanted to use this as an impromptu headlamp, the Pro is a definite upgrade. I've got somebody coming, so I'm going to have to show a slightly different view. I don't want to shine the light directly at them, so I'll wait till they pass before I move back around here, and then finish up in approximately the same location. Yeah, I can actually see across the creek, although it may not be showing up on the iPhone. Well across the creek, in fact, into that opposite tree line. So this is interesting. Well over 25, probably 28 yards inside a clump of trees, I'm running the beacon 2, or the highest level of the beacon. So it's just blasting right through those branches. So, you know, if you were in a jam, couldn't move, but you could get your beacon on, and there was just a bit of space. You know, I do search and rescue as a private contractor. That's something I could see from a pretty considerable distance, just as long as there's enough space for that light to get through the branches. So to amplify on that previous segment, that beacon's a good 8-9 yards away from me. I just wanted to let you see how deep inside the trees it was. This tree right here is what I was looking through to see the beacon from over in that position. So I hope that gives you some additional information on that particular test. And there is beacon 2 on red. The Pro is face up on a park bench. It's not facing towards me. So the light is flashing straight up, and we are viewing it from the side at a distance of approximately 25 yards. So here is our last look in red, beacon 2. I have the Pro clipped to my pack, and it's sitting on a park bench, and the light is facing roughly towards me. It is starting to rain, so I need to wrap this up. This is one way you could carry the light. You could also use any of the loops on the strap of your ruck. One thing I would recommend, though, from past experience, is be very careful when you're taking it off and putting it back on, because these are about the same width as your clip. The other thing I'll point out about the Pro, like its predecessor, this charging port cover does like to come loose, so you might want to keep an eye on that. I can see more and more raindrops coming down, so before it opens up, let's take one last look at that high or main 3 output. Then we'll call it a night. And let me follow up on that last commentary. See how this cord locks in here? This is a great way to make sure that that's not going anywhere. That's why if I were to carry it on my pack, I'd probably carry it in this position and use it as kind of just a general purpose beacon, or mount it using the clip on the strap of my headlamp on my SAR bump helmet, in case of emergency. And one last look at high or main 3 with the Pro. I'm holding it at head high. I run about 5'7". And let's move along the edge and see if we can see down to the creek. Actually, I can see very well with the unaided eye. Probably not going to show up as well on the iPhone, but a definite improvement over the Crystal at the high end. All right, well, even the trees overhead are not blocking out the raindrops. They're just getting more and more, thicker and thicker. So I'm going to call it a night before I get soaked. And if there's anything else you'd like to see regarding tests with this light, leave a comment. I'll see what I can do. And as always, until the next review, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for watching the video.